Most people know about the lush national park that covers much of St. John, but not as many people actually venture into it, hiking some of the miles of trails that weave their way through the park.
This is night blooming cereus.
Meet Gerald Singer, one of the people who is intimately familiar with those hiking trails.
White flower. This is locally called Christmas bush, and it's a relative of poison ivy. There was a lot of cattle production here at one time. I went to school. I went to the University of Buffalo. I studied psychology. And I graduated with my BS in psychology. And then, well, what do you do then? You know, do you go on to graduate school? Do you get a job? Did I really want to do that? And so I was kind of up in the air of what my next move was. And my father is a dentist. He had a patient that was living down here and said, why don't you go visit Estelle? She's got a boyfriend here and they got a house and you could go and stay there and, you know, just cool out for a little while. I came down here. I got off the plane. I got off that plane and I breathed in this air and I was soulless. And that was right from the plane. Then found out that there were these other islands. There was Tortola, places with names like Tortola and Virgin Gorda and Josephine Dyke and St. John. And these places existed and there was this panorama of islands. And I said, I got to come back here. I had a villa called Monty Bay, and because really, as it turned out, I couldn't afford it to live there, I had a guest house and moved into the guest house and put the main house for rent, for short-term rent. And then as part of that, I wanted this little brochure that people could look through, and here's where you could, this is where you go to the market, and this is stuff about the house, and here's some beaches nearby, and here's some more beaches nearby, and then there's always that beach, and like that, and I said, wow, I got almost every beach in here. I said, this would be a nice book. And then I had a friend that was in the publishing business. I said, well, what would it take to make a book out of this? Nothing, money, you know. So at first it was going to be a Virgin Island Trail Guide, or St. John Trail Guide. Then I realized people don't like to walk. They really don't. I sell like 20 copies of the Virgin Island Trail Guide. But what about St. John Off the Beaten Track? It's still a trail guide, but now it's enticing. You know, let me find out what's off the beaten track. Let me find out the secrets. And then of course I added, because then it's not a trail guide. Then there was snorkeling, beaches, plants, animals, so on. So it expanded the trail guide idea. Mm-hmm. Now all of a sudden the technology is there, and to do color at a low price. It's file to print. You give them the file and the photos, and the price is right. So I was able to do photos, and that was a big enhancement. You can talk and talk and talk. One picture is worth 1,000 words is really true. Now when I'm talking about such and such ruin, well, here's a picture of it. I'm talking about Christmas bush. That's a Christmas bush. I could explain it all day long, and you're not going to know what it is, but you see it.
We hiked the Lind Point Trail on a recent morning with Gerald, a kind of beginner's guide to St. John hikes.
This is a good starter trail. Another really good starter trail is the Cinnamon Bay Loop Trail. That's very easy. It's level. It's short, and there's a lot of history on that trail. This one, yeah, you could just take a walk and go to Solomon or Honeymoon. Beautiful. You know, like you get the walk in, you don't have to take a taxi or anything. You just take your walk down, take a swim, you get the whole thing. It's really nice. I walk around and I see people with the book, they're sitting there reading the book. And on the trails you see them. Then you know they're serious.